Over to you, Taran.
We welcome everyone to the HHC Reboot Hospitality episode 20. We are very honored to have Chai Veda as our brand association partner. Just to introduce ourselves, HHC, which is Happy Hotelier Club, it was conceptualized in January 2020 and it's a brainchild of three passionate hoteliers with the purpose of bringing out hoteliers on a common forum of communication and exchange of ideas on industry-related issues, new trends and practices being followed to enhance business and support each other. It's a perfect place for any hotelier to come together and interact, share, rediscover his own self, and it is also useful for sourcing the right vendors. Our vision statement is, of course, to be the world's first and best platform for hoteliers to provide happier ways of networking, learning, and exchange of ideas. Our core team we are three people. So Ashish Gupta, he's the Chief Operating Officer for HHC, an ex-hotelier. Dheeraj Agarwal, strategist and IT expert and Chief Technical Officer of HHC. Myself, Tarandeep, I'm a branding and a PR expert, ex-hotelier and Chief Demonstration Officer for HHC. We are very, very pleased to bring to you Mr. Grish Pindra and Mr. Himmat Anand. They are our honored advisory. They're on the advisory board and they keep advising us. Mr. Grish Pindra has about 35 years of experience in travel and hospitality industry. Currently, he's the Vice President Operations of Surya Hotel and he's a passionate hotelier. He's been with IG for a very, very long time and he continues to support the hotel industry in various ways. Of course, Mr. Himmat Anand, he is the moderator for today's episode as well. He's our on the advisory board. He's a daydreamer, as he calls himself. He's left the corporate world in 2007 when he was a Chief Operating Officer, India and South Asia, Kioni Destination Management. He then pursued his decades-old dream and launched the Tree of Life Resorts and Hotels in 2010, which today operates in about 8 locations and 3 more to go in the coming years. Please spare a minute to like us on Facebook page. Our Facebook page is www.facebook.com/happyhotelierclub. Just to take you through on our journey from 20th March till date, this is our 20th episode, which we have done very consistently by bringing the stalwarts of the industry on the platform and discussing various topics of concern for the hospitality. Out of these topics, we have also converted a few of them into master classes, which is more like a closed room discussion, and it's a paid format. If you have missed any of our episodes, of course, you can go on our YouTube channel and see all our recordings. Today's episode is very, very powerful. This is what we believe, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of takeaways for today. Struggle and challenges generally faced by the independent hotels initially. And then how to raise funding for expansion is also going to be a part of our discussion. Impact of COVID-19 on small and independent, the future aspects, the right planning to expand to multiple locations. Today's topic, as you very well know, it's on small and independent hotels, what lies ahead. So we have very powerful guest speakers for today. Mr. Randhir Vikram Singh, Mr. Tony Sapra, Ms. Chandrika Sultania. Just to introduce our panel, our esteemed panel, Shri Randhir Vikram Singh is credited for putting Mandava and Shikhavati region on the world tourism map. He was a pioneer in hotel tourism and one of the first to convert his castle, which is over 300 years old, into a heritage tourism property. He established the concept of heritage tourism in India by converting the family-owned castle into one of the first heritage hotels in the year 1979. And he's one of the founder members of the Indian Heritage Hotels Association. He's also involved with Fikki tourism in Rajasthan. Welcome, sir. We also welcome Mr. Tony Sapra. He's a business graduate. He's a passionate serial entrepreneur. He has built and sold 3 businesses in his lifetime, as he says. And he's currently successfully running 2 resorts, which is one in Kasauli and one in Kumbhalgarh. and he's managing both these resorts with his family. He's been a speaker at hundreds of networking and angel funding events, and he's an author as well. His upcoming book has a very, very exciting topic, Sack Your Boss. It's soon to be released. And now I also welcome the beautiful lady who runs a wonderful resort, hotel, which is more like a business hotel in Gurugram, very close to Fortress Hotel. It's called the Imperial Park. She's a startup entrepreneur with ventures in training, interior designing, instruction development, HR solutions, and currently hospitality. She firmly believes in a hands-on MBA entrepreneurship, and she also believes that it teaches you to be as stubborn as a bull, while as hardworking as a mule. It teaches you to be a decision maker and risk taker, and to be discreet yet dynamic. She says that her college degree sadly taught her none of this. The biggest advantage she has today is the lack of a formal degree in hotel management, but she's running her property really well. She looks forward to a chain of hotels across the country, which will provide opportunity to countless women to turn entrepreneurs and become empowered. Welcome, Chandrika. We had our fourth speaker, but all of a sudden he has some crisis at his place. So we are very sorry we won't be having him with us today. So moderator of the day is, of course, Mr. Himmat Anand. Over to you, sir. Sir, you muted. Sir, you were muted, sir. Can you please unmute? Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
So good evening. Welcome everybody. All you wonderful people out there and my three great panelists. I'm actually very delighted that Happy Hoteliers Club has taken this topic as a point of discussion. The small independent hotel. If you really look at the hospitality industry today, it is overtaken by the big brands, be it Indian or be it multinational. And all these brands somehow speak the same language. Their aspirations all are to be 40, 50, 70 hotels in the country. And the SOPs are one to the other, honestly. And this is not a question or a debate between big and small, but this is just first to lay the groundwork of what the discussion going forward today will be. If you also look at it, all the recognitions which happen, all the awards which are given, we small guys are never anywhere on any of them, right? So I'm actually protesting against them that we are an important and a growing segment of the industry. For God's sake, look at us also. And I'm sure it's going to change. And we'll come to that as we progress further. I think COVID has sort of changed the positioning for us completely, but we'll come to that later. Because in my opinion, I don't think you can today go and flog a hotel or flaunt a hotel with 200 rooms and the standard saying that my room is 450 square feet, I have 5 restaurants. People are really not looking for that anymore. Those days are gone. I think what people are looking today as travelers is for experiences. They're looking for an emotional connect. They're looking to find the unexpected. That's what travelers are out there for today. And I think we people in the small hotel space are packed there to deliver just what the traveler is looking for. And the panelists we've chosen today, hence intentionally, are those people successful in their own right and coming from a background where they are running just their own properties hands-on. And you saw in the introduction, all the 3 panelists are actually running their properties hands-on themselves, fully involved in the business. There is no hierarchy starting from a COO downwards with 2, 3 vice presidents, etc., etc. No, these are all family-run businesses. And that is where I think the future is going to lie, and we'll discuss more as we go forward. So let me just quickly get into asking the questions. And I'm going to start with Tony, and then Chandrika and Randhir can come in on that. Tony, there is a feeling that the small independent hotels have actually never been taken very seriously till today. If you really look at it, we don't have to have our own association, although I don't know how important it is to have an association, but we don't have that in a real sense. We don't have too much of a representation with the government. our reach is relatively limited as compared to the brands. And what really struck me this time was when COVID happened in the last 3 months, when everybody was talking about hygiene, there was always a question mark in front of the capabilities of the small hotels to be able to deliver hygiene standards. So the big brands took it for granted that they could deliver it, whereas there was always a doubt, can the small hotels, can the independent hotels deliver the hygiene standards which we should be delivering to their guests? So, Tony, what do you think is the reason behind this image of the small independent hotel being what it is? You need to, can't hear you. Can't hear Tony.
Okay. Yeah, now you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry. So what I feel about these small hotels is that most of the small hotels in the country, they are not generally run by their owners. These are investors who had properties, either heritage, or they had some land lying around somewhere where they put up a 30-40 room key hotel. And most of them, they don't know how to run hotels. So what they have done is had operators like us to lease out their properties, and the operators by and large are ex-hoteliers or entrepreneurs like us who take those properties. Now these properties which have been leased to the operators, by say, uh, they don't bother about the reputation of the place. They only just want to make money because they're operators. The owners of those properties, they don't want to license with the government. They don't want to do anything. All they want is the monthly rent. So they get their monthly rent. The operator makes their monthly money, and so no. And obviously they have to fight with the bigger brands. So when they have to fight with the bigger brands, they are at loss because their inventories are low. So it's a very big challenge to run a small key hotel. And so these people, we people are so busy in our managing our top lines and bottom lines that we don't want to license, we don't want to do, unlike the bigger hotels who have a flashy general manager or a vice president or hire team up who doesn't have much to do. So they do all the licensing and all that stuff. So they have deep hands in the government. Now, of course, we as passionate hoteliers, we do provide that experience which most of the hotels, bigger hotels, may not. In one of our Kasoli properties, I would personally know at least 50% of my clients, and we are on one call basis, and they give us repeat clients, and so we have an advantage though. But yes, you are right that we don't have a big advantage and big say in the industry per se. Did that answer your question?
Right. Yeah. No, that's a perspective. Yes, Chandrika, would you like to add on now and tell us what is your thought on our standing?
Yes. So Himmat, when you question that, why have we not got the recognition? Rather ironical, because travel has grown. Travel for socio-economic reasons have grown. Infrastructure has developed in terms of having cities, connectivity. See that in an ideal environment, small and independent hotels should have grown ideally too, and should have had a better recognition. But the bigger question here to ask today is, have we actually strived to develop beyond our own single properties? Have we tried to come across forums where we objectively talk about placing ourselves and telling the government that we actually moved from being incidental as an industry to an industry which is worth billions and actually caters to millions? We're all so infatuated with our individual properties that perhaps this kind of step or forum formation is something where we're lacking. Also, I feel, another reason which has been in, sort of instrumental in this is that if you look at actually the last 2 decades, and primarily so the last 1 decade, all owner-run properties, when they saw the advancement of OTAs, it was such a lure to go and join them, because it meant that, without having to put in that extra effort, you would still have business coming in. What we forgot in the process is that OTA provides an option, but as a small and an independent property, you don't want to be the option. You want to be the choice for your customer. Perhaps that engagement of directly relating with our guests is something that has suffered. And that's what we need to work upon. One. Secondly, move away from a reliance on OTAs and aggregators, work on ourselves as individual properties, and plus get together and actually work towards a very robust representation.
So let me just take it on from here, Chandrika, and staying with you. You talk about representation with the government, etc., etc. Now, what did our finance minister do this time? Barring her remark of "theek hai," and then the prime minister said, "Atma nirbharta, apne aap ko dekho jaake jo karna hai." If the larger brands are not able to get the pound of flesh which the industry rightly wanted or deserved, where do you think smaller hotels have a voice? The question today, I think, is hospitality really taken as seriously by the government as it should? So, how do we sort that out? Because even the bigger brands didn't get it.
Very true, Himmat. Is hospitality actually taken as an industry which pumps in billions and billions? The kind of tourism that we cater to, that is the biggest question. To address that, what are we actually doing about it? We have a COVID and we say, what has the government done? But if we look at in hindsight, what have we done in terms of gathering together and forming associations, getting representation? So when we talk about development, we talk about development of one individual property or just our property. Do we talk about development of the country as such, which allows tourism to happen? Do we talk about development of a particular state, which allows tourism to flourish in that state? We don't take up those concerns. It's only that today something has happened like this, that we are voicing all these thoughts. But otherwise, we are always engaged in our individual business organizations, individual properties. This is the biggest learning, to get together, form associations where we talk about moving travel and hospitality as a bigger industry.
So let me get Randhir in, because Randhir has been very actively involved with the Heritage Association, and I think they've really, being small, being independent, they've been able to do some amazing work in this country, and at least in Rajasthan, I know they have put the heritage hotels on a platform. So Randhir, you want to share some thoughts with us on this point?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Himmat. You know, we go back somewhere around 1980s and 90s, when we all, about 13 of us, got together and said, okay, let's form a Heritage Hotel Association. And it's basically an experiential tourism. And most of us did not do hotel management. We're not from the hotel management background. We all owned our own properties like forts and palaces and castles and villas and mansions across the country, hunting lodges. And we all put our heads together and we said, let's have a personalized experience. And each one worked very hard from 0 to 10, doing all the services. It was an experiment at the end of the day. And gradually from 13, we've grown to about over 250 heritage hotels across the country. Almost every state of the country has some heritage property. And these are most extraordinary properties. And we learn from each other. Every 3 months, we have a meeting at one of the properties. And it's a learning, because there are no set rules for a small property or a heritage property or a boutique hotel. You need to learn from others, and each one, irrespective who's somebody who just opened, he'll give you something remarkable which you never thought of. So it's an experience which counts, and the dedication which you put into your property. I started my property way back in 1980, 79, 80. And tourism was not there in that part of the world. I have a property in Shekhawati, in Mandava. We couldn't get vegetables those days, leave alone things. Green vegetables are not available in the village of Mandava. Today you can buy a fridge, you can buy a car. And today it's flourishing with number of hotels. Over 300 rooms are there. So the point is that you really have to work very hard. As far as heritage hotels are concerned, it's become a good group today. We are recognized at the national level. We are members of faith. We are in every forum. We are members of the classification committee. It took us years before we could actually get a classification which is different from the star category.
So Randeep, that's the question to come in. Do you think the small independent hotels, do you think there is a gap? Do they need an association to make their voice heard, to be more relevant to the industry? That's the
Himmat,
question.
Himmat, absolutely. You need to have an association. You need to have a group of dedicated people who will put this thing together, and definitely you'll have success. Because one individual voice doesn't really count. Nobody is bothered about you. But the minute you become a strong group, and people start looking at you in a serious manner.
Good. So I think the first takeaway already there is, as far as the small independent hotels is concerned, that I think you need more visibility. Like Chandrika said, you need to be more together as a group. Yeah, Chandrika, I'll just come to you in a moment. And you need to present yourself more strongly, because we are today a very important segment of the hospitality industry, unlike 10 years ago. And we need to sort of carve out our own space. Yeah, Chandrika, please carry on.
Himmat, I just wanted to say that very well put by Randhir sir, that it's been years of working together as an association. So, this is the point I'm trying to make today, that in times of COVID, to lament that we're not getting support is perhaps where the hindsight is to go and see, have we given ourselves time to come together?
Okay.
And
So
not
let's go further.
activities.
Now, staying with small is beautiful, right? Everybody says, oh yeah, small is beautiful, and all of us take pride in the lovely individual properties we have. But then there is another thought process which says that the effort which really goes into running, let's say, a 70, 80, 100 room hotel is the same as you would put into running a 20, 25 room hotel. The effort is really more or less the same. The groundwork you really need to do is more or less the same. You need the same sort of departmental breakups and all of that. So Tony, what's your take? I mean, if it is the same, why should we not become larger in what we are doing? Why are independent hotels restricting themselves to be one or two or three properties? And also share, please, some of the challenges you face on a day-to-day operations basis being a small independent hotel.
What I feel is, I may not agree that running a 20, 25 room property is same as running an 80 room property. Running a 20 room property is much, much more difficult than property. Why I say that is because in an 80 room property, you can afford HODs in every department, whereas in a 20 room hotel, you may not be able to afford high skilled people as HODs. Giving an example, a general manager for an 80 room hotel, anybody can afford a 18, 20, 25 lakh rupees package general manager for a 80 room hotel. But for a 20 room hotel, you cannot afford somebody more than 7 to 8 lakh rupees. Now there is a big difference between a skilled GM for 8-10 lakh rupees vis-a-vis a skilled GM for 20 lakh rupees. One. Second, salespeople. Good salespeople who are in the B2B market want to have a package of a 12 lakh, 14 lakh rupees package. An 80 room hotel can afford a 8 to 10 lakh rupees package of a sales guy, whereas a 20 room hotel cannot. So I feel a 20 room hotel is much, 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 much more difficult than an 80 room hotel in terms of the operation and sales. That's what we have been feeling. And yes, it is a lighter ship. So in the period of COVID, I've seen many hotels which are 80 keys, 90 keys drown in terms of their top lines, whereas hotels which 20 room were lighter ships, they did not drown because they had less expense, they were easy to sail through. The owners or the senior people in the family, they were very much involved in running those hotels. So their key staff did run away. So and the point you have taken up on the expansion. So now the moment, if you are a 20 room, like for example, I run 222 room hotel, key hotels. So for me to jump to a 80 room hotel goes to a different segmentation. In a 20 room key hotel, most of my client would be FIT. But in an 80 room hotel, you cannot survive totally on FIT. You have to go through MICE, you do weddings, you have to do all that. Of course, the profits are there, and so are the risks also. So I think most of the people run small property key hotels. Is my perspective. We don't want to jump into the 80 key hotel segment, and we would rather expand horizontally with 20 key properties rather than going for 5 to 6 80 key properties, because running both of these properties is different ball games. And as Chandrika, I think mentioned, or maybe Desal mentioned that it is very difficult to jump the sector if you are into MICE all the time or are inbound all the time. Suddenly jumping into domestic market is very difficult. So same happens with running a small key property and a large key property. It is very difficult to transform. Trust you me. So that is why most of the low key properties, 20-25 room properties, they want to stay there. They're comfortable with the FITs. They have good weekend business. They have good ARRs, and they are low on staff. They don't have very expensive staff. So I feel that these are two different segments, and jumping from a 20 key property to a 80 key property should be a disaster for somebody who's trying to do it, and a vice versa too.
Yeah. So Chandrika, Tony mentions about salaries and having the sales structure as two main impediments of running one or two properties or even small properties. In your experience, what are the other challenges you face being a small hotel, being an independent hotel, just one hotel? For now, I know your aspirations are to sort of create a chain in the country. But as it stands today, what are the other issues you face in your day-to-day operations?
So couldn't agree more with Tony that getting staff that is trained is perhaps the biggest hiccup, because one, they don't want to work at smaller properties. Not many of them want to invite themselves to that challenge. And of course, salaries can be a huge concern. Apart from this, I think the other challenges that smaller properties do face is that a lot of time these smaller properties are not very efficiently created. They're not very efficiently made, which means that your infrastructure bottom lines will always be very high. So you can't bridge those gaps. They're not designed so efficiently, which larger properties are. Most of the times they've been designed by smaller people who said, okay, I've made this 20-room property, let me let it out. That's where there's a huge challenge in reducing infrastructure related bottom lines. Secondly, you're always confused because you're a bench sitter. Sometimes you're not big enough, and sometimes you're not, you're not too small when it comes to people want what they want. And also, I think having a smaller inventory can be rather restraining, particularly during the wedding season. So, or when it is conferences, or particularly a city like Gurgaon, which holds a lot of exhibitions. And those are the times you notice, that a limited inventory could be very restraining.
How many rooms do you have, Chandrika, in your property?
We've got 20.
20 rooms. Okay, very nice.
And the beauty is that they're all various kinds, triple occupancies, family rooms, and all. And I think another challenge that we face in terms of the infrastructure is that a lot of times we don't have amenities which bigger hotels have. Now, if there is a corporate or a business traveler, especially from the SME sector, he comes here to Gurgaon for a meeting, goes in the morning, returns at night, does not need a swimming pool, probably just needs a good bed and get a good sleep. But that is the kind of perception and mindset that we need to change. Not having a multi-cuisine restaurant, not having maybe a spa to it. So when you have to work as a smaller property, you have to see what all is that you cannot offer in terms of amenities, and what is that you can up in terms of services.
But you see, there's a flip side to it. A smaller property who doesn't offer all these additional services which you just mentioned will probably sell in the range of 4,000 or 5,000 rupees a night. I'm just putting a bandwidth to it, right? Whereas a property which has all these amenities will then go up to 8, 9, 10,000 rupees. So I think when a guest is paying 4,000 to 5,000 rupees, he comes expecting that level of facility and that level of service. Wants more of it with a swimming pool, a spa, 24-hour room service, etc., etc., etc. Then you have to up and pay more. So you have to choose your clientele accordingly, isn't it?
So you, with a huge tariff war, especially propagated by the OTAs and the aggregators, It always remains a challenge, Himmat. I know you work out of a category where you've chosen your niche so clearly. But here, in terms of educating clients as to where you stand and what you provide, is
Huh?
always something that needs to be worked upon.
Right, right. No, that's a valid point. I agree. Let's just go to Randhir. Randhir, in this age of globalization, you've got all these big brands coming in, and every big brand worth its salt is in the country today. And everybody, all these big brands are talking of 30, 40, 50, 100 hotels in the country in the next 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years down the line. The question then is people like you who are small, independent, family run hotels, what is the future for this category of hotels going forward? Because you don't have deep pockets like they do. Where do you see in the next 5, 7 years the independent small hotels, the family run hotels, in comparison to the big brands which are coming in now?
Himmat, you're absolutely right that there's a big challenge which is happening today with the big brands coming in, the chain hotels coming in, and standalone hotels are finding it very difficult to survive. Firstly, the marketing. There's no way we can have a marketing setup the way these big brands have. As talked by Chandrika and even Tony, for staffing, it's very difficult getting staff. Smaller properties, people don't want to come and join you. So your services are affected. You get local staff. When you're in the interiors, for example, when you're in the villages and all that, it's very, very difficult to get staff. Because what do they do after their duty hours? So, and the brands have a very strong networking on marketing, which a standalone hotel cannot match. And most of the properties are facing this huge problem today. That is it a time now to join hands with somebody or create a good, strong marketing? For example, at Heritage Hotels, we're looking at creating our own marketing setup in the association itself. So everybody is a standalone hotel, but we have a group of marketing team put together, which can be shared. Your net marketing, social media, all that could be taken care of by a specialized group where the money could be distributed so you could get good people. At the same time, being a standalone hotel, so you have to pay a small amount, but there are so many more people to share the expenses with.
Yeah, but isn't it going to be crazy where you have a set of people who are servicing, let's say 30, 40 hotels? How will this work? Because every hotel will say, look, give me the attention, give me the business, promote me. How would you do that?
Yeah, I know it's a big challenge, and that's the reason that we've not been able to still come up with a marketing plan.
Yeah, because I doubt that'll succeed, yeah, won't it? I doubt that model will succeed. Tony, you want to come in?
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah.
In fact, when I opened my Kasoli property,
Yeah.
this is only a 14-room property, 1414.
Right.
Now, Kasoli, when I opened, was selling at a room rate of around 3,000, 3,500. When I did my math, in no way I could break even with my 14 rooms at that point.
Right.
अमिताभ बच्चन एक बात कहता है कि जहां मैं खड़ा होता हूं लाइन वहां से शुरू होती है. Now I thought what to do. So we started on a concept where, if you believe me today, I sell my room at 12,000 rupees per room night in my Kasoli property. 12,000 rupees. Now what I did was, because otherwise I couldn't sell it at 12,000, I made it such an experience. So in Europe, there is a category of small hotels called the destination spa property. In fact, both of my properties are destination spa property. Now these are, and I would like to, जो question पूछ रहे थे वो about the small hotels feeling this problem. The small hotels face this problem because they are selling their properties as hotels. So if you are selling your property as a hotel, how can you compete with a hotel of 100 rooms? You cannot, because he can sell a property, he can sell a room at 3,000, you cannot. So what to do? So what we did was we categorized our property into something very new. And we have no competition. There is not even a single destination spa property in the country except Mokshas and Anandas. There's none. So what we did was we give our guest a open thing, pay us 12,000 rupees room night, eat as much as you can, spa as much as you can. So this becomes a destination spa. Now the busy professionals who work 10 to 12 to 14 hours a day, After 2 to 3 months, especially in areas like Delhi NCR, they really get fed up कि कहीं चलते हैं 2-3 दिन के लिए, and they don't want to check into a 5-star hotel. They don't want to check into a Shimla or a Nainital. They don't want to go to mall roads. They don't want to do all that. They just want to go and lie and what to say per se is complete their sleep and बस सोना जाके. So when you put a category of a unlimited spa to them, they have a body spa in the morning, they have a body spa in the evening, they have a party in the evening, they lie down in the pool in the afternoon, they don't do anything for 3 days, and they pay us 36,000 rupees and go home. We are very happy because we charge 12,000 rupees room night. Had we been selling our 14-room property, which has a huge layout cost and plus a huge rental at 3,000 rupees per day, and with a 40 to 50% occupancy, which is generally as hill town occupancy around the country, never could have been broken out. So as small hoteliers, until they don't change their mindset into experiential hotels, I would ask all the participants here, why would you like to sell your hotel, compete with other hotels and sell your hotel at 4,000 rupees? How is it possible to sell a hotel, the heritage hotel, for 15,000 rupees? If you can give a value of 15,000 rupees a room night and the guest is ready to pay, and then they're only in like our property, 14 rooms, only 28 guests there. And in the evening when I meet everybody. They become my friends. Those 28 people, they give me at least 200 guests in the next 1 year because they're friends. But now, since they are paying me 12,000 rupees a room night, these are good people. These are not just those kind of guests who sirf 200 रुपए का खाना खाएंगे and they want to live in a cheap hotel, 3,000-4,000 रुपए का weekend पे ठंड मनाने आ रहे हैं कसौली के अंदर. These are good hotel people who paying 12,000 rupees a night. So what I'm saying is, if you start thinking, if small hoteliers start thinking, how can we sell our hotels at 12,000 rupees? Let the bigger hotels sell for 3,000-4,000 rupees. In Kumbhalgarh, there are big brands who sell 3,000 rupees their room night. Big, when I say big brands selling 3,000 rupees. Just next to them, we sell for 10,000 rupees. And people are, we get people. Of course, we get 50% occupancy. They have higher, we have 80 rooms. They are at 50%. They sell 40 rooms, we sell 10 rooms. But we do same revenue in 10 rooms what they do in 40 rooms with more staff. So it is how do you differentiate yourself? See, there are many ways to skin a cat. So small hotels generally think that they are in the hotel business. I don't think I'm in the hotel business. I am in the experience selling business. So what can you sell? I wish I could sell my hotel room at 50,000 rupees a day. I'm thinking about, you have ideas? Please tell me. What can I offer more and more to the guests? They're ready to pay 50,000 rupees.
Yeah, sure. No, great. I think this is a wonderful learning where you rightly said, if you have to differentiate yourself from the others, you have to really take another path. You can't go down the beaten path of trying to sell a room. It has to be more than selling a room. Yes, Chandrika, you wanted to come in on this.
I just wanted to add to what Tony said. It makes so much perfect sense. And this is what I firmly believe in, that as a hotelier, you have to be very sure of the niche that you want to operate out of. You have to be very sure of the target audience that you want to address. And that is something which you've also done, Himmat, so beautifully. You're very sure as to which is the kind of people that I'm talking to.
Yeah, so now I think I'll just share a little bit with you all on this, and also people who are listening. And when I started the Tree of Life Resorts in 2010, which is about in Jaipur 10 years ago, my intent also initially was to have only one property, right? I came out from the corporate world and I said, let me just do one property. And all the hassles which you're saying about not getting people to join you, high salaries, sales, etc., I went through all of these. And then I think the thinking changed, and this is what I'd just like to share with you. We started saying, why do I need to remain just one property? Why can't I stay in my space, my niche of being 10, 15, 18, 20 rooms? But I go to multiple locations. So from 2010 till 2015, we were just one hotel in Jaipur for 5 years. I ran that on my own. I was the manager there, staying there, doing everything on my own. And then my son joined me later. And with him, we started going one to the second to the third. So we are in a position today where we own some properties. and we manage the rest. The question to you all is, and I found that myself from one hotel where I had all these costs loaded onto one hotel, when I had 8, and as we go forward, my costs are, so my sales staff is more or less the same, my reservation staff is more or less the same, my corporate office expense is more or less the same, whether I was 3 hotels or whether I'm 8 hotels, hardly any difference in those, 1 odd person more here and there. The question then I ask is, does it then make sense for you people at any time to co-brand, and I'm not trying to sell Tree of Life, please, that is not the intention of this discussion, but to co-brand with a company like, let's say, the Tree of Life or any other brand which is managing properties, and take that pain area away from you. Do you think that is a plausible thing? Because there are a lot of companies today who are allowing you to run the property yourself, which is your passion and which is what you want to do. But they have a lot of back-end expertise of OTAs, of sales, of reservations, of quality control, of guest review management. All those services are provided. So, Chandrika, does it ring a bell somewhere that maybe I should look at this option?
Okay. So this is where I started off, Himmat, in terms of why our positioning has been reduced, because possibly the hard work that had to be put, um, uh, especially when OTAs and aggregators stepped in, is what we started avoiding. And we're back to the same question in terms of co-branding, having aggregators with you. Could be for someone who want to join the bandwagon of the industry, but definitely maybe not for someone who's put in like you did. So I've put in 5 years in my property, and they say that, you know, a bamboo tree grows 5 years under a tree. I've done everything, and being in an incidental hotelier, having no background of it, I've done everything. So today the biggest advantage I have, that my foresight comes from my hindsight. And I understand that whenever you need to expand, you have to have a need addressal. So I don't expand that I can be counted as a hotelier or tycoon having 1,000 inventory. No, I want to expand because there's a need addressal that I want to do. And that sort of becomes instrumental as a means in the higher things that I want to achieve. So personally, for me, I would say that I would go with my experience and go alone, be taking properties on lease or getting investors in. But aggregators and joining and co-branding is something, if you put in the hard efforts, I would avoid for those kind of people.
Okay, good. Tony, what are your thoughts? And then I'll come to Ranveer after that. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, as Chandrika pointed out, smaller hotels, like a smaller hotel. I just give you an example of doing a ARR of 12,000 rupees. Now, this when you have an aggregator or when you have a brand getting attached to you. Say I have a 14 room property. I go to a bigger aggregator or a brand and say you co-brand. Now, the moment say they brand me Fox Hotel, this example. Now, Fox already has a reputation in the market. People who are using that particular brand, they have a brand expectation. So, and I'm not too sure what expectation has Fox Hotel set in.
No, but that's where the difference is. You need to find a brand where you and that brand speak the same language.
Well,
Then
there
it
is
should
none.
work.
There is none in the country. I don't know of any. There is none in the country who can make a 14 to 20 room property, like Chandresha said. 20 room property को profitable बनाने के लिए, I don't need any brand who can give me an ARR of 3,000 to 4,000 rupees, occupancy of 50 to 60%. I don't know. और अगर वो ले भी आता है, so what am I making? 50% occupancy means 10 rooms a day. At 4,000 rupees is 40,000 rupees a day, and 40,000 is 10-12 lakh रुपए महीने का. Then you add up 15-20% of food on that. 12-15 लाख रुपए की प्रॉपर्टी अगर किसी ने एग्रीगेटर ने आपके लिए टॉप लाइन ले भी आया, you don't end up making much money there until you raise your ARR from that 4,000, 5,000, like Gurgaon. Look, Chandrika would know 20 room property. It will be a hard task for her to sell it more than 3,000-4,000 rupees a room night. Very difficult, because OA rooms and all these people, they're selling, and Gurgaon is the place where travelers come in, office people come in. There's hundreds of guest houses, there are hundreds at room, there are big hotels selling at 4,000 rupees, big hotels, big brand. So it is to get an aggregator or get a small hotel, I totally feel should stay away from aggregators. They should stay away from travel partners. They should stay away from OTAs. They should stay away from people who tell ki hamara brand le lo. They should make a name of their own. And if somebody today comes, and it takes time to build that image of that particular hotel, but once it starts, like for example, if you ask my client, the Elcor Spa Resorts, you know what he will tell you? Oh yeah, Elcor Spa Resorts. If you ask my client, many people don't know us, but if you ask my client, have you been to Elcor Spa Resorts? He'll say yes. So how would you describe Elcor Spa Resort? You know what? In one word he'll say, unlimited food, unlimited spa. I go there, get delicious food. I go there, I spa 2 times a day.
Okay, good. So let me just go on to Randhir. He's been waiting for a while, but Tony's just trashed my model of business completely for me. I'm getting worried if I'm doing the right thing or not. Randhir, Mandava has created a brand in its own right.
Yeah, so
as the destination.
What Tony said or Chandrika said, in fact, I'll say something a little different. And Himmat, you've come out with co-branding, and a very good example is Nimrana.
Right.
Nimrana.
No, there are success stories. I would fully agree with what Tony is saying. I take his point to a limit. But I think there are enough brands today which understand different models. You have the Lemon Tree, you have this, you have that. And you have, like you rightly said, you have Nimrana, you got other people in this space. So yeah, Randhir, carry on please. Yeah.
Nimrana has something like 59 hotels today.
Yeah.
And they range from 4 rooms to 80 rooms. And there are properties which have been leased out to them. There are properties which are managed by them, and there are properties which are owned by them. So yes, to run your own property, if you can manage, I've been running it since 1980.
Right.
And one's got a reasonable name. But the point is that if one wants to join in, and what Himmat is saying, it's not a bad idea actually to join hands with somebody who's been a successful brand and run a small property and still have profitability. At times you just need marketing help. You don't need anything else. So the guy just comes in, gives you the marketing help. A lot of people who can't go to exhibitions, who can't go and attend shows in Berlin and London and so on and so forth, at the same time in the domestic markets. So for them, it's a great idea. For a guy like Himmat Anand, he's got 8 hotels and there are 4 more hotels who join him.
So, okay, yes, I think this will always be a mix. There will be people who are saying, I'm happy on my own, I can manage on my own. And I know there are any number of people who say, look, I don't have the expertise, I need help, so can you help me? So I think this will always be 2 sides of the coin with different people wanting to be able to do different things. I just want to go to market.
If you can find somebody who fits with your face.
That is the point. Find somebody who fits your face, that's the guy to go for.
Yeah.
See, that is what, see for Chandrika, if running a 20-room hotel, she goes to Radisson, they don't want a 20-room hotel.
No, of course, you can't go to the big brands. They won't even look at you.
Even the smaller brands.
Exclusive group.
See, a business hotel, Lemon Tree, they don't want a 20-room hotel. Okay? Most of the Hilton...
No, Tony, that's a given. Yeah? The big brands will not look at 20 rooms. No,
so then what does a 20-room property do? It cannot go to the bigger ones. There are no small chains for even Ginger doesn't do 20 rooms. So
but again, you're looking at people who are at a different level. I don't think a Ginger will ever understand our language. He will never ever understand. Lemon Tree won't understand our language. So yeah, I see your point. There are segments which are available. There are probably partners. But yeah, you're right in saying that I think both the parties have to be on the same page. Only then it works. Let's just move on. Let's just move on to another part of it.
They're not big takers. For smaller hotels, see, for bigger properties, there are smaller hotels. Chandrika koshish karke dekh le, she will not find a good partner for 20-room property in Gurgaon. She has to manage her own.
Understandable.
No other way. And
I was looking at the larger point, not just 3 panelists. I was looking at the larger point to say that there are brands or there are, so because I think why this stems to me is from your pain points. When you say, I don't have distribution, I have too high salaries, people are not joining me. So there are companies and brands today which are providing that back-end support where they take away the pain point from you. But yes, it comes at a cost, obviously. Nothing comes for free. Let's just move on. I just want to try and find out with the small properties and in the small hotels, what sort of market mix, Chandrika? What's your market mix? You're probably a full or mostly a corporate hotel, is it?
Um, so we've got a default location advantage, Himit, where we're very close to the metro station, we're very close to institutional hub, we're very close to hospitals. So which means it's actually a mixed bag. And what would I say my customer is? That person is a discerning customer. Be it he could be traveling for business or leisure, or he could be traveling for medical assistance. He could be traveling for any purpose. So we actually cater to a mixed bag. We cater
Right.
primarily to someone who's discerning and who values certain things which a smaller property can provide. And primarily that is a rapport building, the kind of relationship we can share with a guest. It sounds strange in the days of COVID to have a personal touch, but yes, those are the kind of people that we primarily cater to. And small hotels will always need to work about options where your engagement with guest is so much more direct.
But what's your take from the OTAs? What percentage of business do you really get from the OTAs?
Not more than 18 to 20. There have been times where we did 2%, moved to about 60%, and then finally sanity prevailed and I said, this is not where we want to go to.
So you're not an OTA, you're not somebody who feels that OTA can be a positive tool in your hand for your sort of a property?
So let me put that in a better manner. I would say that a judicious usage of OTA is necessary. What does an OTA provide? Let us try and understand that. An OTA provides an option to a customer. Do you want to become an option, or do you want to become the choice for your customer, for your target audience?
Yeah, but honestly, as a 20-room hotel in Gurgaon, I'm sorry to say that, but you have two advantages. One, you're 20 rooms, so you can be boutique, exclusive, etc., etc. But at the same time, without any marketing spread, without any brand positioning, can't OTA be your friend in times like this in getting you a much wider reach?
Especially in today's time, Hemant, I would say what guests need today is constant reassurance, and that doesn't come from the OTA.
Okay.
That
So no,
comes
let's look at these times. Because COVID is 3, 4, 5 months more, 1 year more, COVID is away. So let's just look at a normal situation. Would you consider OTA as your friend, or do you think no, this is something I can stay away from?
No. So I would put it, Himmat, that a judicious usage of OTA is what is needed. Use it as a tool, be prudent. Do not rely excessively on that. That's not what hoteliers, and especially smaller property hoteliers, would want to get into. That's not
Tony, what's your take on OTAs?
Right?
Yeah, Tony.
This guy from a major OTA last year called me and said that Diwali ke time pe, Diwali mein Rajasthan is good. So we have a lot of influx from the Gujarat market, especially Kumbhalgarh. So he said, Ki, Tony, what kind of inventory do you have? I said, I have 50% inventory left. He said, hum aaj hi bech dete hain isko. So give me a good rate. I said, what good rate are you expecting? He said, Ramada 4000 में बेच रहा है, आप तो छोटे होटल हो, आप 2500 में दे दो मेरे को, मैं सारे अभी उठा लेता हूँ. Now, I don't know what to say right here, but अगर मैं 2500 में अपना रूम नाइट बेच दूंगा, वो भी 50% इन्वेंट्री, मैं तो मेरा तो उस दिन का बिजली का खर्चा भी नहीं निकलेगा.
So that means you don't feel OTA as a support for your sort of model.
OTA, जब मेरे पास, you know, when I use I use OTAs.
Yeah.
My 10% of my sales come from OTAs.
10%.
10%. You know what I use my OTAs? I only open my OTAs 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
जो बच गया वो बेच लो भाई. उससे पहले सब में. Because I have to sell my room night at 12,000.
Yeah. But you know, the OTA is not stopping you. But Tony, the OTA is not stopping you from listing your property at 20,000 a night if you want.
Yes,
that's in your hands.
People coming to OTAs, they filter the cheapest. They will not go to 12,000. Because
I wouldn't agree with you, boss. You got the Vilas hotels and all at 25, 26,000, and they get enough business coming from OTAs. So I wouldn't fully buy your thing that only the cheap guys go on OTAs. I mean, I would imagine, for example, and I don't want to sort of grade them, but I think the quality of clients you get, for example, from booking.com are probably better quality clients than you'd get from the other things.
You're right. You're right.
So I mean, we do about 40% of our business on OTAs, and I'm selling at 25, 28, 30,000 rupees a night on OTAs also. So I wouldn't say that I agree OTA is only price transparent. Yes. But I think if your product is good enough, people, and we've sold 20, 30, 40,000 bucks a night on OTAs. So I
Maybe
guess
you are an older brand. Maybe you are an older brand. That is why.
probably.
But a newer brand like us, who's just 3-year-old,
Yeah.
people may not want to buy a 12,000 rupees room night from an OTA without knowing the brand.
Right.
So maybe you are right.
I'm with you on that. I think brand positioning plays an important part on the OTAs. Absolutely valid on that one. Randhir, what's your take? How much of business do you get from OTAs, Randhir?
I'm not doing much business with OTAs at all, actually. Not more than
Because
10%.
10%.
Yeah, because my major business is inbound business.
Right.
So I really don't have enough inventory to sell in the open market. So
Right.
now gradually I'm looking at OTAs and other things, but till now we've not been working with OTAs in a big way at all.
So let me just ask you, take this forward with you, Randhir, since you're mostly in the inbound business, and like you rightly said, it's very difficult for the inbound centric hotels to suddenly move into domestic. It's not possible. You guys are used to a different clientele. You guys are used to a different dealing with people. Your relationships are overseas, not in the country, etc., etc., etc. But the fact is now, I don't think honestly, if we are honest with ourselves, we are all saying by winter 21, inbound is going to come back. But heart to heart, we know it's another 2-3 years before inbound really comes back to pre-COVID levels. It is not going to come back in a rush. So can you people who've been so inbound centric, how do you plan to survive for the next 2 years at least?
That's the most difficult question to answer. And what one is now working at, for example, I'm getting a lot of weddings for once.
Yeah.
And some movie shoots are there. Then there is, now we going in for domestic businesses also.
Right.
Because a lot of people want to go out for weekends.
Yeah.
And so that's the other segment. It's going to take us time. But I know that for next 2 years, there's no inbound business there.
Yeah.
And weddings and all these small little things have come in a big way now. Parties, a lot of people want to come out for weekends. So we're just about 4 hours driving distance from Delhi.
Yeah.
So, Gurgaon, Delhi. We're about 2.5 hours drive from Jaipur. We're about 3 hours from Bikaner. So, we're right in the center between these 3 locations. So we are working on the weekend traffics, holidays, and these little other activities.
And you can do an evening with the blue blood, a dinner with the blue blood. Yeah, that's interesting.
Also, I
To
think
pull in FIT, that's a big advantage to have a dinner evening with and showing the kids. See, we will make you live with a live Raja.
Just like we are doing Zoom. We are doing Zoom with
enough.
blue blood. Yeah, we're doing Zooming with blue blood. Okay, we need to sort of now wean away towards the end. To 3 of you, if there were 2 things you would do differently in your business, which you wish you could do differently, you are unable to do, but you want to do, what would those 2 things be? Chandrika, let's start with you. What would those 2 things be that I wish I could do this differently?
Himmat, I'm an incidental hotelier. I have always done what I wanted to do.
No, I can't imagine you're doing everything right and you're very happy with whatever is happening now. I don't buy that. I'm sorry. There must be something you're saying, I wish I could do this differently. What are those things?
What I'm doing today is after 5 years. So yes, but in terms of doing whatever I could do, I would want to go for bigger properties.
You would want to go for bigger properties?
I would want to go for a higher inventory.
Okay.
I want to expand to more cities.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest things that I would want to, if I had an option to work upon, would to have bigger banquet space and higher inventory. I think those are 2 challenges that we faced despite having whatever we've had. So increase amenities, have higher inventory. That is something I would definitely like to work upon. And if I had my way, I'd want to go that way.
So maybe if Happy Hotelier Club does a session, small independent hotels, 3 years from now, you can't be called as a speaker then, because you won't be small, you won't be independent. You would be in a very big league of your own 3 years down the line. Well,
I'd still be independent and I would still love to be here. And what a
wonderful.
lovely
Good
thought
to
you
hear
have,
that.
Hemant. I look
Randy,
forward.
tell me, you've been around like, I don't know, I've known you for 35, 40 years, man. I think 30 years, 35 years, I think. 30 years at least.
Long time, Aditya. We both go a long way.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you were to do two things differently in all that you've done till now, and you've done a hell of a lot, what would you want to do differently?
I'd reduce the size of my hotel, unlike Chandrika, for example. I said I've grown. Now I said, let's make it small, make it a little more intimate, the way I started it, and have a completely different experience.
Yeah, because in the good old days, you started with some 20, 25 rooms,
I
right?
started with 7 rooms in
Yeah, there you are.
1980.
Yeah.
I made 85 rooms now.
Ah,
But now I feel that it's a minus. You have to get a lot of FITs, lot of groups together to fill up your rooms, and then you lose the quality, like what Tony also mentioned earlier. So it makes more sense to reduce. But this year, in fact, what I've done is I've just opened 30 rooms, and I just shut down all the other rooms, and I said, let's just drop the numbers. But then you don't need to, compromise on your type of people you have, the clients, guests. You can work a little differently.
okay. Yeah. Tony, okay. Anything else, Randir, other than the size? Would you do anything else differently?
No, again, concentrate more on experiential tourism because we have our own stables. We have about 60 horses in our stables. So get into all these other activities along with that. So people come, get a full experiential tourism there, have a feel that you just come, spend 3 days or 4 days, enjoy yourself, like what Tony was mentioning, just come, enjoy a spa, enjoy a meal. Here you could come and enjoy the desert, enjoy the stars.
And the horse.
Okay. So on the one hand, you got Chandrika who says she wants to become bigger. On the other hand, you got Randhir who says, I want to become smaller. Tony, where do you fit in?
Well, for me, I know where exactly I'm going. I will not.
No, I don't want to know where you're going. No, wait. Sorry. I want to know two things you want to do differently, not where you're going. What would you do two things if you could do differently?
Well, I would not change anything because I am, that's what I'm trying to tell you, that I want to stay a small hotel. I want to stay a 15, 20 room inventory hotel. I want to position myself where I don't need anything else more than an FIT.
Tony, I know you're a very content man, boss, but I cannot imagine.
No,
I'm trying to get for the audience, and
no,
I will get this answer out of you.
I'm looking at 100 hotels, sir. I'm not content.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, in terms of brand positioning, I don't want to be a big hotel. Why? Because...
But I'm not saying become big. The question is not whether you want to become a bigger soul. I'm saying what would you want to do differently? Are you trying to tell me everything you're doing is pat what you wanted to do? There's nothing you want to change?
Right on track.
You are a very lucky man. I must say you're an extremely lucky man in today's day and age.
Because from the very first day, I realized to run a small hotel, if you sell it like a hotel, you will never make a profit. So
that is all a given. Yeah, I get you there.
See what Raja Saab is saying. See, Chandrika says she wants to go big. Raja Saab is saying from big he wants to come down. What I'm trying to tell you, I'm down and I want to stay here. That's what I'm telling. जो वो दोनों mistake कर रहे हैं, I'm there already. I don't want to grow. I want to give a better experience in a smaller hotel and then expand horizontally. I want to have 10 hotels with 20 rooms each. All of them, you come and enjoy your meal and have a spa. Maybe have a few horses. Maybe that's a good thought Raja Saab has given.
Yeah, you could tie up with Raja Saab for horses. Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
There you are. Yeah. Okay, so great. I think thank you, ladies, gentlemen. I think we've covered a lot of ground. We've sort of been across a whole plethora of questions. So I'm going to request Tarandeep, please, to come in, and I think we are very much on time, Taran.
Yes,
so,
yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this very, very energetic and lively episode. I think this is one of our best, liveliest episodes so far. Unstructured, but had a lot of takeaways. When Mr. Himmat Anand told me that I want to have an unstructured stuff, we didn't really know how it will go, but I think it has gone really well with very, very, I would say, valid points from the speakers. And I think there has been a lot of takeaways for the participants as well. So now I would take this pleasure of getting, requesting Prerna to come over. She's our brand association partner for this episode. And she's been doing things very differently. In fact, she has been instrumental in getting her grandmother's specialty teas to the hospitality. She's been serving and creating menus and she's been associated with very good brands, which includes Oberoi's Gurgaon, which includes Rosiat, which includes Andaz, and few more properties. I think I would leave the stage to her, and she would really take us through as to how the finest of teas have, really taken a new definition in terms of menu engineering as well, in the coffee shops and the tea lounges. Over to you, Prerna.
Sorry about that. So thank you, Tarandeep. It was actually a very interesting episode. I have been associated with bigger brands. This was my first live interaction with heritage hotels and smaller properties. And this has been an amazing insight in what you do. So the way it is important for you all to give experiences to your clients, Chai Veda also does the same purpose. So, I believe chai is an elixir of life, and Ayurveda is an ancient science for wellness, well-being, and I kind of merge both of them to give you a cup of wellness. It's easy to kind of build your immunity sip by sip. Investing, so the way you all are investing your time, effort, and energy in being where you are today, and so proud that you are at the place. Similarly, I'm also extremely proud of the ancient heritage of Ayurveda to get to your cup of tea, to be able to merge both. And this COVID era, everyone has realized that nourishment and immunity is so important. In my experience, investing in an amazing chai experience would also kind of ensure that you have enrolled your guests to through all their five senses to your hotel. So whatever you are doing, but immediately they would kind of get involved and evolved with all of their senses, your services and the type of tea that they are sipping. So it kind of create memories. Tarandeep, you could take the slide further.
This is a video, ma'am. Would you like me to play the video?
Yes, please play on the video. Okay. So a lot of my clients say that they also prefer to invest. Even the bigger properties want to invest in a good chai experience. So as you all know, my name is Prerna Kumar, and I kind of welcome you to the happy world of chai. Okay, our product line is 100% pure teas, herbs, and spices. We use the finest of tea leaves from our country and create various blends. Vedic chai masala is one such recipe, which is a combination of 14 herbs, spices, and flowers. It kinds of makes your masala chai truly masala-licious and extremely delicious. Then we have a wellness range. Wellness range is a completely it is an interesting combination of natural fruits, herbs, and spices. It is kind of a daily dose of antioxidants, which I do in handmade potli tea bags. So it kind of replaces and becomes extremely sustainable lifestyle that we all want to kind of progress on. It gives you it gives your guests a perfect experience of in-room teas. So there is a tea for morning, there is a tea for afternoon, there's a tea for evening, and then there's a sleep well tea. So depending upon the time of the day, depending what they want to experience, we have this wellness range of teas. Then we have a hibiscus minto. This is completely a truly a versatile beverage. It is something that your F&B team would love to experiment with, because you could create cocktail, mocktails, salads. One of my friends even makes golgappa, this pink golgappa water with hibiscus minto. So it's a tisane. It's completely a very different and a unique experience. And this all is on the basis of Ayurveda, wherein we use the kinds of herbs and spices that will enhance the feeling of wellness, the feeling of good health, kind of completely relax the mind, body, and soul. An experience that I'm sure you all would want your people to experience. I also think that COVID has ensured that we have inbound guests who are much more knowledgeable, much more cautious and aware about their health and about their wellness. So we have this essentially Vedic range under which you will have them all covered. So this essentially Vedic range is a combination of tea leaves, various tea leaves, white, black, green, depending upon what herbal concoction are we planning to offer them. And then under this essentially Vedic range, we would have teas to help them detox, to help them relax, to help them ease their digestion. So something to refresh them. So that's a very interesting essentially Vedic range. I think the presentation is not going the way I would wanted it to go, but nonetheless, we are going to share this presentation with you. And this presentation will share the details of all the tea blends that we have, which I just covered. So the masala chai, the wellness range, essentially Vedic range, and hibiscus minto, which is a tisane. So my offer to all of you is that for all of your offbeat destinations, we have unique products. These blends have been created by oneself, by the knowledge of Ayurveda and herbalism that I have studied. It also comes from the upbringing, the inherent idea of wellness and well-being that I have been brought up with. So I would be extremely happy to kind of, meet you all. Maybe I don't know when we can meet, but e-meet you all, and kind of offer these various tea experiences for your people. So in terms of experiences, we also kind of merge them with different experiences of storytelling, of doing yoga, of certain creative activities, cook along things. So all of these experience you might want to kind of consider when things become normal, or now with this online thing. What I offer is also is also the chai class that I would be very happy to do for your people. So this is what my humble request is, that if you want to invest in an ultimate chai experience for your guests, Chai Veda should be there on your menu. This is an ultimate chai experience that your guests um, would have. And this I'm saying because of experience, because of being associated and successfully being able to get the chai of Chai Veda being brewing at bigger hotels in Delhi, NCR. So this is from that experience I'm sharing and humbly offering that you should try the Chai Veda range of teas. And I'm sure you and your guests would be very happy to connect on this lovely and delicious beverage. So that is what Chai Veda is all about. And there is a video at the end. I would like you to play that, Tarandeep, please, at the end of this. It's a very small 15 seconds video. The video shares with you. It's next. Further down from this. Thank you. So this is just to show you that, these ingredients that we use in the tea are ingredients that are available in our kitchen shelf, or we are using them in our daily lives, but we do not really understand what is the best way to consume them and, kind of use them in an everyday life so that they give us the benefits that they are supposed to give. So a morning energizer is a tea that can be served post breakfast, post exercise. It has got these apple to give it the sweetness, the cinnamon that enhances your metabolism, so on and so forth. So I would be very happy to share with you all personally the kind of tea blends we have. And I'm happy to any questions that you would have now to ask about the tea blends, ask about what all do we offer, and share with you.
Sure. Thank you, Prerna. This was very insightful for all of us. In fact, I would request if you can, we can actually share the list of people who registered with us. And it would be a nice idea to send an email to them, talking about your teas and getting engaged with them, right? So we will now open the house for any kind of questions, either from Prerna or from the panel. Ashish, if there has been any questions or statements which are sort of questions, you can kind of pitch in. And anybody who wants to ask questions can either put it in the chat box or just allow us to unmute you and you can ask the direct question. Ashish, you can take up the questions which have appeared.
So far, we do not have any questions in the chat box.
Right.
As long as anybody has a question live there.
Randhir sir, I would like to say that your idea of having a collaborative social media marketing team is a good idea, and I think Himmat sir, this can be looked upon because our country, as sir said, has 250 heritage properties, which as a layman we would not be aware, and the kind of people like the COVID has given us this opportunity to kind of explore our country. So there would be a lot of people like us who would like to still look forward to weekend even after Monday to Friday also being a weekend. Besides, we kind of look forward to traveling out for the weekend, and your social media team can collectively explore or share with people, these are the areas which are untouched. You can go and spend time with. And then Instagram is an amazingly popular platform with people like us who kind of go there for recommendations, who kind of go there for experiences, and to know more about our country, to know about the cultural heritage, to know about spices, to know about different foods, all of those things. So I think that's a great idea to have a collaborative social media team who can individually promote all of the heritage properties depending upon what they do best. What kind of experience do they have to offer.
I think social media is anyways the need of the hour, and especially so for small and independent properties, for them to build their brand and as well as establish a rapport with the guests that you want to engage with. And nothing, absolutely nothing can undermine that. You have to have a very robust system of where you can work upon your social media.
Yeah, and every hotel doesn't need to spend individually. A strategy could be created wherein all the heritage hotels can combine, uniformly promote, the team can promote all of them individually and uniformly. I think that's a very good idea.
Thank you so much, Prerna. We'll definitely take it on. In fact, I'll share our website address with the small hotels, so it can be spread around also. Thank you.
Sure. So, sir, people here in Delhi and Gurgaon, even after being in lockdown for like 3-4 months, my family, my husband, my kids, they are still looking forward to chutti from work or chutti from college. It is unimaginable, but they are all fed up of sitting at home. So exploring areas which are safe to go, drivable distances, they have the luxury of removing their masks and enjoying the weather and all of.
And Raja Saab, what about an evening with
So I
Raja
think we are in
Saab
good hands,
with
especially
Kadaknath?
the sector that you
No,
with
the
Kadaknath.
Raja Saab, what about Kadaknath? Let's have an evening dinner with you with Kadaknath. What do you say? It's a
absolutely,
great
sir.
experience.
Absolutely. You're most
Huh?
welcome. We'll love to have you there under the stars.
Sir, maybe,
enjoy the clean air of Rajasthan or rest of India.
Happy Hotelier Club has a membership. So we have members in our club. Probably, in the coming year, we can always plan a retreat at your property. So we can always collaborate on that part, sir. In fact, Mr. Manoj Srivastav has a question. He's from the aviation industry and he's a very, very senior person. Mr. Srivastav, Dheeraj, can you unmute him? He can just ask the question.
Let me try.
Yeah. Mr. Manoj Srivastav.
Sir, you can unmute yourself now.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Manoj. I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just listening about OTA and about the hoteler, how much they can sell through using the OTA panel or OTA platform. Very simple question, because airlines also selling the inventories using OTA. My question may be very blunt. OTA selling all the inventory about the hotel, holiday package, and aviation flight tickets and all the last so many years. But how we can see the OTA? They are helping us to industry or they are abusing the industry? Anybody can answer. Thank you.
Can I go, Himmat? Hello? Can I give
Please
the
carry
answer?
on. Yeah, carry on, please.
Okay. So, Manoj, I think it is all a matter of considering it a bane or a boon or walking the midline. You have to have a judicious usage. You have to have a strategy as to what kind of business would you want to be catered from the OTA, during which part of the year, and which part of the day. You have to have a very clear strategy. None of these are all techniques and tools available for us to better our business. The whole point is, how do you use them? That is where your strategy would come in. Yes, they are going to reduce their rate because OTS is a matter of the number game. And if you don't want to be a number game, you have to understand how much do I want from them. How would you want yourself to be branded? As a hotelier and someone who did not understand the hotel business, I have not gone into dynamic pricing. I have relied less on OTAs, and I feel the establishment of a brand is so much more important to have a connect with the kind of people or the audience that you would want to associate with. So my simple take on this, a very judicious usage of the OTA, and they're needed. You can, in under no circumstance, deny their existence or the use that they serve for you.
I cannot agree more with you, Chandrika. This is a very, very, very aptly put, because this is similar to, quick service restaurants when we talk about Zomatos and Swiggies. I keep, because I'm in the branding and digital space, so I keep telling all my clients not to go that way, but build your own clients, because the moment you go that way, of course, your profits go down. Secondly, your audience is not your audience. Your target customers is just not with you, because everything is managed by them. So end of the day, you need to have your own database, you need to have your own customer base, and you need to do all the gratification around your customer, because your customer is your customer, because they are actually feeling your product, whether it's a hotel or food. So minimal usage and creating a brand is very, very important. Might take some more time, but then I think some support there, but mostly your branding has to be up there. That has to be a very clear outline, I feel personally also,
And also we must understand that if OTAs exist today, or aggregators exist today, it is because we have given them reason to exist, and perhaps somewhere we have refused to take on challenges of building direct rapport with the guest or not engaged in excessive self-branding exercises. That's where we've lacked, and we've just jumped the bandwagon and taken, we wanted to leverage our reach through them, yet we don't want to credit them with the smaller yield that they also need to take away. It has to be a fine balance, and there are no free lunches in this world. That is something you will always go by. So please use it very judiciously.
Manoj, the clients which you get from OTAs, yes, you are right कि वो कम दाम में मिलते हैं हमारे को, the prices go down. But if you know how I use OTAs in my hotel, I use OTAs as a client acquisition mechanism. Now, when I say I use it like a client acquisition mechanism, the client which I have acquired has a longer shelf life than just one time. If I, on an average, one of my client gives me 7x revenue over the next 15 months, be it a referral, be it they're coming again. So अगर मैंने 1000 रुपए का एक room बेचा, just giving an example, 1000 रुपए का एक room OTA को बेचा, that client, if I handle property, will give me a 7,000 rupees revenue. So that client which I acquired actually gave my brand 8,000 bucks. So if I look at that way of acquiring clients, then it's okay. But if I'm looking at just one time कि मैंने 1000 रुपए का कमरा बेच दिया and every day I have to acquire new clients and don't handle the old client, then OTA is of no use. I have had clients from OTAs coming to me who came to me 3 years back. And now they don't go to OTAs, they buy every year from me directly, and they have sent me at least maybe 50-20 clients. And those clients, they can come and they say कि उन्होंने refer किया, and वो तो आपके बड़े अच्छे दोस्त हैं, आप हमारे को discount दे दो. When we track back that client, it actually came from an OTA which OTA sold our room, which we sell at 12,000 rupees, was sold at only 4,000 rupees. But at that time, we did not think it's a 4,000 rupees client. We thought it's a 12,000 rupees client, but he has come in for 4,000. Okay, now let us treat it like a good client and take him forward and engage him with your brand. So it is what you do with the clients is more important than just getting a client from the OTA.
I think very well said, Tony. The idea is to take leverage from these OTAs. That's the whole point. And then after that, how you engage with a guest in offering him tailor-made solutions that he would prefer to book with you directly, be it travel, be it hospitality.
Absolutely. Any more questions? We would love to hear from you all. In case there are any questions before we end the session, we are already 5 minutes, above the targeted time. Prerna, probably since you're doing Ayurveda teas.
I would like to say, I would like to share with everyone that, just start being aware of what you all are putting in your tea. Tea is such a versatile beverage that it can help build your immunity. So if your favorite is green tea, black tea, whatever kind of tea, ensure that you are using the herbs and spices available in your kitchen shelf to kind of add them in your tea every day. Over a period of time, you would know and feel the difference in yourself. So this is just a humble request. Listen to the kind of teas or herbal concoctions being prepared at your homes by your grandparents. Start imbibing them. So Ayurveda kind of brings the ancient knowledge in a modern lifestyle. You are the one who have to do that, get that ancient knowledge imbibed in the modern lifestyle of today. And we all have to fight together in this era. And the only way to fight is building our immunity, staying strong, staying ahead. So this was a
Prerna, you are so right. In our resorts, we have an entire tea lounge where we serve 7-8 brands of different kinds of tea, green teas and some other kinds of tea, and which is they're very popular. Our tea lounges are very, very popular. You're right. I mean, this is a great space to be in. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure.
So, before we come, it's been a very insightful episode, I must say, with all these stalwarts and the way it was structured. I think the best out of everyone was brought out, in a beautiful manner. So this will always remain one of our best episodes. And before we end, I would request Ashish to just talk about the masterclass which we are planning to do soon. Ashish, just take them through for a minute, please, before we end.
Yeah, sure. So we are going to do this amazing masterclass about menu designing. So why we really opt for this kind of masterclass is because most of the food businesses are really losing on to their big chunk of profit because of faulty menu design only. And menu once designed correctly, it can really do wonders for any food business, or in fact, any hospitality business for that matter. So we are going to have some very, very, powerful interaction with one of our members. And this is going to be very awesome and knowledge drawing masterclass. This would be held on 10th and 12th of September, 4 p.m., 90 minutes of each session. And I'm really looking forward to it myself.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We come to the end, and I'm very sorry we've taken a few minutes more than we scheduled. Apologies for that. But it seemed to be a very, very engaging, so we didn't want to leave any discussion midway. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for being a patient listener throughout and a good audience. Thank you, Mr. Himmat Anand, for being a wonderful moderator as always. And I sincerely thank each one of you as a panel speaker for contributing for this episode of ours. Chandrika, you've been awesome. Mr. Tony Sapra, you've been awesome. There have been a lot of learnings out of you. And Mr. Ranthir Mandava, I think it was a great pleasure to have you, with us. And we would look forward to doing more activities with Heritage Association, way forward. I think we can, if you allow us, we can have more, powerful things going together. Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
We love to have you all interact with each other.
That'd be really nice, sir. It would be our honor and our pleasure, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for contributing to this episode. Thank you so much. Look forward to our further activities. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Take care.